Welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Monday, March 23. There are no new cases of COVID-19 in Barbados. Today, authorities reported that 11 tests conducted on Sunday were all negative and infections remain at 17. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Anton Best provided an update to journalists at a press briefing at Ilara Court.
Best DeSantis Public Health Lab would have done 132 tests as of yesterday. You asked also about the status of the 17 persons who are COVID positive. They range from mild to, I think there were 2 cases that were not quite moderate, but persons that we had to pay very close attention to. And they're all stable. We don't have any concerns right now, any major concerns with any of the persons who are in isolation.
Labour Minister Colin Jordan today made a strong appeal for Barbadians to adhere to social distancing to contain the spread of the coronavirus. Jordan, who also addressed today's press briefing, urged employers to ensure the practices observed in the workplace.
The virus passes when people are in close proximity to each other. And we want to emphasize that in businesses and organizations that employ people, that distancing has to be respected. And so we expect that those who lead in organizations will make the arrangements that would allow for people to have that distance in between themselves as they work. We recognize that there are ways of living that Barbadians have become accustomed to, because even coming to this press conference, coming on the stairs of the Warren's office center, I saw people who were not workers, but who were still in very close proximity to each other, because that is how people feel comfortable. But we want, from a workplace perspective, for those who lead workers' organizations, those who lead businesses, those who lead employing organizations generally, to adhere to the arrangement of having physical distance between and among workers.
Barbados has opened its doors to a group of 35 elderly Trinidadians who are barred from returning home due to the COVID-19 lockdown enforced by the Keith Rowley administration. The group, who arrived from London, is being housed at the Sugarcane Club in St. Peter. Minister Jordan says Barbados is currently discussing the matter with Port of Spain.
But I can confirm to you that some Trinidadian nationals have come to Barbados. They are unable immediately to go on to Trinidad and Tobago. They are also unable to go back to the UK. And so this government is not going to leave them at the airport. But this government is also going to ensure that there is no contact with Barbadians. There is nothing that says they are infected with anything. And so they will follow the protocol, and that will be enforced, of the mandatory quarantine. And that is the position that we take at this point on that. We continue to be in discussions with the government of Trinidad and Tobago to facilitate their repatriation.
In other news, Opposition Senator Caswell Franklin has warned employers not to use the COVID-19 pandemic as an excuse to mistreat workers. A senator who was speaking in the upper house during the appropriation bill today accused some employers of flouting labor laws during this period.
They cannot use the COVID-19 disease and the coronavirus to take advantage of workers. There's still procedures settled in the law for you to follow if you want to even lay off. I hear some people shut down last week. They didn't go to the chief labor officer and get permission to send home people without going through the process. They just shut them because, okay, we can do it with COVID, and they're happy. Because some of them want to get rid of some people for a long time, but they had no basis for doing so. And having done so, now they're going to blame it on COVID. COVID and coronavirus cannot be used as an excuse for people to mistreat workers in Barbados. It has started. It has started. I want them to pull back.
Franklin also appealed to Barbadians to follow the instruction of authorities as the country seeks to curb COVID-19 infections.
We are panicking, and you see, the thing is, and it is not because we are not educating the people. When I go by my mother and I watch TV, because that's the only time I watch TV, I see JS announcements and all kinds of things on the TV telling people what to expect. But nonetheless, people seem to be ignoring the government's advice, listening to people who know nothing about what they're talking about.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Roots Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
To regional news now, in Guyana, authorities have put a stop to self-quarantine amid complaints that people exposed to COVID-19 have been defying the guidelines. Tamika Rodney of HGP TV Television tells us more.
The self-quarantine measure, which was adopted by the Ministry of Public Health in the early stages of the COVID-19 outbreak in Guyana, required anyone who came into contact with persons tested positive for the virus to remain indoors for at least 14 days. While these high-risk persons may not be showcasing any symptoms, they were reportedly being monitored by healthcare personnel who made routine calls and checks on them. Persons who exhibited COVID-19 related symptoms were taken to one of the ministry's 4 isolation areas to be monitored closely. However, Minister of Public Health Walter Lawrence told media operatives recently that the self-quarantine methodology will no longer be in place.
Now that we have those 4 facilities up and running, and so as of today, any new suspected case, any new persons that would have been in contact or in an area where we suspect that they may have been exposed, there is no more self-quarantine. All quarantine will now be done at the Ministry of Health facilities.
The minister revealed that this modification is being implemented in the wake of several negative reports that the persons who have tested positive have been breaching the self-quarantine guidelines.
Yes, we have had 2 sets of reports. We have reports from the public where persons have made those allegations, and then we have reports from the family members who are saying that it is not so. Notwithstanding that, as you've heard very clearly from Lieutenant Colonel, that we do have within our structure that mechanism to ensure that we track.
On the international scene in the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced strict measures to tackle the spread of the coronavirus. The UK death toll has reached 335 persons.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. Because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes. Shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible. 1 form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household. Any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, and travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home. That's all. These are the only reasons you should leave your home. You should not be meeting friends. If your friends ask you to meet, you should say no. You should not be meeting family members who do not live in your home. You should not be going shopping except for essentials like food and medicine. And you should do this as little as you can. And use food delivery services where you can.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.